Welcome back. Rob Blevins with us. He's with the Discovery Center. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm so excited.
Over the moon excited?
I'm over the moon excited. We literally have pieces of the moon in front of us here in studio in Springfield. This is amazing.
It is amazing.
Tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on at the Discovery Center that this is even possible.
So you have to get trained to get these rocks. It's kind of a big deal because they are from the moon, and the meteorite samples, you know, these are from space, from very, very far away, from long, long time ago. So you have to be trained by NASA. There's probably less than 1,000 people that have that training that are able to request these rocks in the first place.
And you're one of them.
I'm one of them.
Incredible.
So I can hold these, and we can do fun things like this right here in the Ozarks. The Discovery Center is pretty amazing in that, you know, right here in Springfield we can have something this phenomenal. We're not the biggest city in America by any stretch of the imagination, and so it's great that we get to do something like this.
So let's get right in. Tell us what we've got here, because we've got a couple of different samples.
Okay, so these are sample discs, and so to protect them...
so we can touch them without damaging them.
We can touch them, yeah, because there would be a lot of degrading of the chemical composition of these if we were to expose them to oxygen.
Right.
So it's important that we don't do that, so they're closed off for this. And so each one of these things, there's soil samples from different parts of the moons, and all of the moon, and all of this was brought back through the Apollo missions.
When we first landed, that's 1969, right?
Yeah, I think Apollo
landed.
11, Apollo 15, and 16, I think were the
Wow.
missions that brought back all of the lunar samples that we have. And not only important for proving, you know, in this decade we're going to put a man on the moon. Yeah, we did that, and we brought back rocks to prove it. And then we proved some other things through that as well.
Like planet formation and things like that. What we know about the solar system comes from things like
Yeah, prior to this, one of the predominant theories was that we captured the moon, and then it stayed in our orbit, and we orbital locked it with us, and then we figured out through the composition of these rocks that we brought back through these Apollo missions that, well, it was probably the impact theory, which was the stepchild theory of all theories for the moon. And so there's some scientist out there that was like, I was right all along. It was the impact theory. So a giant planet-like object,
Crash and collide.
about the size of Mars, crashed into Earth and then spun off, and we did kind of capture that part of it. So that part's true.
Cool. So these are the lunar samples, and then we've got some meteorite samples here too, right?
Yes, and some of these, you can actually, some of these substances like basalt, that's really common on Earth. So some of these, we have the same rocks on Earth because, you know, came from the Earth. And then these are meteorite samples. And so in the training with NASA, we got to, and these are some of my favorites. The moon thing, really cool. The meteorite samples, what I love about them, I got to hold one that was from the crater in Arizona.
Wow.
And it's made mostly of iron. And on these, you can see how they melted and reformed as they entered the atmosphere. And on the one I had, it was giant. It weighed about, I don't know, 30 pounds. It was this tiny little rock, but incredibly heavy because it's made of mostly iron. But seeing how it melted off and reattached as it came into
Because these things are literally flying from space and hitting the surface of the Earth at such speeds they get really hot.
Yeah, they get really hot as they enter, and so I don't know. It's crazy. You can hold them.
And what we've got here.
And so these are the samples of rocks from the Earth that are present on the moon, and so that, you know, so we're not damaging anything, contaminating it, and being able to do that. So these are just the rocks that we have on Earth
that
already.
Are similar
They're the exact same rock.
Wow.
Just you'll find these on the moon as well. But that's just so that we can give somebody something to touch, that we're not going to damage any scientific material. And these might look like tiny rocks in here, but they're huge in the scientific community. A scientist, if they are, all they do in life is study moon rocks or whatever, they could never get something this size. They look at this with envy. They give them tiny little slivers.
Microscopic ones.
And then they have to send them back afterwards.
Wow.
So they have to get these tiny ones and they send them back. So yeah, this is from Johnson Space Center, where they do some incredibly cool things to preserve the rocks that they do have.
Very quickly, we've got 2 viewings here in Springfield. You can check these out, bring the kids, and learn a lot. Those are the days, Wednesday and Saturday. We'll have that on our website. Thank you so much for coming in and educating us about science, because science is cool. We'll be right back.